Hey there, your mates. Unfortunately, the exercise 5C video, for whatever reason, got corrupted, so it's not working. So let's go through how to add and subtract terms here, all right? So first thing is you need to be able to identify which algebraic terms can you actually add together, meaning can you group them together? The way I like to explain it is that it's like apples and bananas. If I told you you had, hypothetically, say, if I drew this, okay, that looks as close to green apples, okay, and then I drew a, I don't know, let's do yellow for orange, okay, orange. What you would say if I asked you how many fruits, okay, how many fruits do I have? You would say that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fruits because they are all fruits category, okay? So you'd say they are all fruits, so you'd say there are 5 of them. But if I asked you how many green apples are there, okay, you would then say, well, green apples, these are the only ones that are green apples. 1, 2, 3. What you wouldn't say is you wouldn't say I have 3 green and 2 oranges. You wouldn't say 3 green, 2 oranges. Agree? And you wouldn't say 5 green because I don't have 5 green. You would actually just say I have 3 of these green apples. True? So this is a green apple, this is a green apple, this is a green apple, this is 1 orange, this is 1 orange. So when you're adding it, can you see that instead of saying G plus G plus G plus O, there must be a shorter way of writing this. Instead of writing G plus G plus G, wasn't it much easier just to write 3 groups of G? Or another way is that we're a bit lazy, we'd rather write 3G. Okay, because that means I've got 3 groups of these green apples. I much prefer writing 3G than G plus G plus G, especially if I had 10G. So you don't want to be writing G plus G plus G plus G plus G all the way up until the 10th G. True? You'd rather just write 10G. So what your skill is here is you're trying to add or collect like terms is what we call them, or group things that are the same. So in our case here, I've got 2 oranges. Instead of writing orange plus orange, we can write it as 2 groups of orange. True? And so together, how many examples do I have here? My fruits were made up of, so 5 fruits. The 5 fruits I had before were made up of 3 green apples, so 3 groups of green apples, and, so the word and means plus, and I have 2 groups of oranges. So another way of writing it is 3G plus 2 oranges. And this is where students cannot mix the two. Do not mix the green apples with the oranges because they're different. You don't say that you have 5 green oranges. You don't say that you have 5 oranges, and you don't say that you have 5 green apples. You literally only have 3 green apples and 2 oranges. So this applies the same in algebra, except instead of using G's and O's, I'm going to be using A's and B's. So here are some of the examples that you will be going through. You could be going through something like 2A plus 2B, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to simplify. Instead of writing all of this, it takes too long. Where can you simplify? Where can you collect? Which groups are the same? Right now, I can already see this is an A group. This is an A group, but that over there is a B group. So what I wouldn't do, okay, some students will do this where they would add these 2 and they'll also add the 2B. So 2A plus A gives me 3 groups of these A's plus, and they think, oh, I'm going to add these 2 B's together. So 3 plus 2 is 5, and then they just write 3AB. Wrong. Okay, you can't do that. It has to be that groups stay within groups. So you can see here, 2A means that I've got 2 of those 2 groups of A, so it's A plus A. Then you're adding another A to it, so plus A. So isn't there a much better way of writing A plus A plus A? Of course. 2A plus A gives you essentially 3 groups of A. True? A plus A plus A is the same thing as 3 groups of A, which is the same thing as saying 3A. So, and then what about this side? We have plus 2B. Well, there aren't any other things that you can do with the 2B, so it's fine. Just leave it as it is. It's just 2B. You don't have to do anything to it. Sometimes the questions even try to trick you. Sometimes they'll even give you something like this. They'll say, simplify 5A plus 7B. You can't do anything. They're different groups. There's nothing else you can simplify. That is as simplified as it is. So your answer is just 5A plus 7B. A lot of students feel like they have to do something with it and they'll just write 12AB. Wrong. Okay, can't do that. You can't just mix apples and bananas. They're not the same. Okay? So in this case, it's just 5A plus 7B. So your job in this exercise is to look for like terms. So you'll find that the adding and subtracting part will start happening at question 4 and 5 and then 6. That's where you start collecting like terms. So say we do C. Okay, so 5C, I've got 2A plus 5A plus 13B minus 2B, right? Well, if we're collecting them, I can say that which ones are the same? I've got a B, that's a group B, and that's another group B. Over here, I've got group A's, and that's another group A. So only group the ones that are together. So this means I've got A plus A. True? And I'm adding on 5 groups of A. Well, what does 5 groups of A look like? It's A plus A plus A plus A plus A. There's 5 of them. True? But together, can you already see that I had 2 groups of A plus another 5 groups of A? Well, I might as well just write them all as A plus A plus A plus A plus A plus A plus A as 7 groups of A. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, so when you're doing this later on, you don't have to write this step. I'm writing it to explain to you why you group the A's together, because that's all of the same letters. So you group them together as 7 groups of A. Whereas over here, if you write this out, this is plus 13B. Well, that's 13 groups of B. You would have B plus B plus B plus B. I'm going to be very tired of writing these number B's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You see my point? 13 B's. That's 13 B's there. And then I'm going to minus, notice here it says minus 2 of these B's. So I'm going to minus 1 B. Sorry, I'm going to write minus 1 B, and I'm going to minus another B. That's what minus 2 B's mean. Okay, so I'm going to minus 1 B, and I'm going to minus another B. So you can see, how many B's do I have here? I've got 13, but I'm going to minus 2 of them. So altogether, I'm going to only have 11 groups of B. Can you see that? So when you write your answer, what is 2A plus 5A? That is 7A. What's 13B minus 2B? It is 11B. So what goes in between? Well, they're 2 separate groups, so you just simply use plus because it means and. So you're saying I've got 7 groups of A and I've got 11 groups of B. Okay, and I think that's where students are learning in this exercise to use the language and mathematics. Okay, so when we say and, we mean plus. Sometimes students get up to this step and they don't know what to do. Do they like, do I times, do I take away, do I divide? It's not a guess game. It is literally what you say, literally, you're just translating it into mathematics. You're just simply saying, I've got 7 groups of A and I've got 11 groups of B. That's it. Okay, you can't combine the 2 together, so that's your answer, 7A plus 11B. That's it. Okay, so question 4, 5, and 6 will train your ability to add and subtract, and whereas question 1, 2, and 3, what it's training you to do in this particular case is to get you to identify which ones are the like terms. Okay, so the tricky ones are the ones where they swap the letters around. So for example, 3AB and negative 2BA, some students may think they're not like terms. They are like terms because even if you have a look, this is 1A, 1B, and they're multiplying to each other. True? So it's 1A, 1B. That's the group that we're working with, is AB group. So AB group is A times B, but notice over here, the BA group means B times A. what students need to remember is the order doesn't matter in multiplication. Whether you do A times B or B times A, the answer is the same. So if you're ever wondering about algebra, you can try using real numbers. You can say, well, let's see, if A was 3 and B was 2, is there a difference between 3 times 2 or 2 times 3? Have a think. Like, you try it yourself. Yeah? 3 times 2 is 6. What about 2 times 3? Is it also 6? And if it is, can you see that it doesn't matter which order it is? That's why the two groups, even though written differently, technically they are the same. That's why we would say this is technically 3 groups of AB, and this technically is negative 2 groups of AB. Traditionally, we write it alphabetically. Okay, so we always write our answers in alphabetical order. So you should write negative 2AB rather than negative 2BA. Okay, so those two are like terms. So in these skills here, they want you to identify what is the same and what is not. Because once you know if they're the same or not, you can add or subtract them. See up here, I can say that these two are not the same. They're not like terms. So that's why I don't add them. That's why I can't do anything with them. Whereas over here, you see I can say these two are the same. That's why I can add them. So in the first 3 questions, you're training yourself to ask yourself, are they the same group or not? So for example, if I looked at B, there's a 1A and there's a B squared there. There's a 1A and there's a B squared there. Even though they're written in different orders, they are technically the same group. Whereas if you have a look at the second one over here, they're different. See how it's Q squared and this is Q. Already, the Q's already different. So together, they're not the same group. This is R times Q squared, whilst this one is R times Q. Very different. Okay, so even though they use R's and Q's, one is a Q squared and one is not. So you can't say they are like terms. They are different terms. Okay, so that means you can't add or subtract them. What's another one? Let's have a look at this one. Are they like terms? So have a look, think. Are they like terms? Okay, so let's compare them. I've got A and a B squared. They're multiplying each other. Okay, because when you don't write multiplication, they're right next to each other. A, B squared, yeah? What about B and A squared? Are they the same? No, they're not. You see, A squared, and then you've got a B there. Both of them are so different already. Yeah, this is a B squared. This is a B. They're not the same. So this here, you can't add or subtract them. Okay, so the first skill that they're trying to get you to do from question 1 to 3, they're trying to get you to identify. Once you can identify what's the same, then in part 4, 5, and 6, that's when you can simplify them. No one wants to write this lengthy expression. Okay, we prefer to write it in a simpler version, and that's where you train to identify what are the like terms. In this particular case, you've got A, so that means I can add this 4A, 4 groups of A with this minus 2 of these A's. So negative 2 plus 4, or 4, positive 4 minus 2 is 2 groups of A. Then what about this one? 4 groups of B, and this is a 7AB. Notice they are different groups. This is just a B, and this is an A and a B. So you can't group them together. That's why that's your answer. That's it. There's nothing else you can do. It's just 2A plus 4B minus 7AB. You can't group it anymore. That was the only thing you can simplify. So at least you now only have 3 terms to write rather than 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So you simplified it by 1 term. Okay? So that's the answer that I've got here. That's the answer. That's the answer for what question was this again? This was 5L. Okay, so that's the answer for 5L. Cool. All right, I'm going to leave you guys there, and I hope this video was informative to help you along the way with add, subtract terms.